Warren Buffett just told everyone why you need to buy Bitcoin. Let's take a look at what exactly is going on. And no, this isn't really clickbait. This is something that Warren Buffett actually said and gave myself and a lot of Bitcoiners a lot of interesting insight. So let's take a look at what exactly is going on. We're going to talk a bit about Bitcoin news as well, because we have some other news from Brazil and just a couple other places. And guys, Warren Buffett, for those that don't know, owns one of the biggest funds out there, one of the greatest, if not the greatest investors of all time. He is actually stepping down from his role at his company, Berkshire Hathaway, but he went on to say this about money, and the solution is obviously Bitcoin. Let's take a look at it, guys. Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy, Crypto RJ, talking about Bitcoin to $1 million, okay? This is the channel where every single day, we will be discussing concepts, ideas, news, and just go over who is buying Bitcoin and when/why they're buying Bitcoin. Every single day, there's something going on with Bitcoin. Bitcoin is obviously the biggest asset when it comes to crypto, and in my opinion, will hit $1 million. Not today, not tomorrow, not next year, but eventually it will happen. And on this channel, we're going to be documenting the whole journey. So one day we'll look back at this channel and we'll go like, wow, like who remembers in 2025 when this country bought like a little bit of Bitcoin, and now Bitcoin's worth $1 million. Okay, it's gonna be a fun little kind of like a social experiment if you want to call it that. Okay, subscribe down below and let's get right into it. So Bitcoin is at $90,000 today, guys. Not that much movement, so not much to say on the price. Let's just get straight into the meat and potatoes. So Warren Buffett makes the case for Bitcoin. So in this CNBC basically interview, obviously go ahead and watch it if you want. He basically says they make the currency worth less over time. They devalue it at rates that are breathtaking. In the end, if you've got people that control the currency, they can issue paper money. And he basically just talks about why, paper currency and fiat currency doesn't really make sense at all. He basically just talks about how it's all just BS, and it's more or less just, I don't want to say fake, but it's basically just a pyramid scheme. And if you really understand how money works, you'll understand that, guys, they really print money, right? Imagine people around the world are working for money that the government literally prints. Surely that means that eventually the money is going to go down in value. That's how inflation starts. Again, you can watch a whole 1 hour documentary on how money is fake and how the whole thing is realistically just a scam. But here is where the solution comes in. Bitcoin is 21 million, right? There is only ever going to be 21 million. You can't make more, you can't print more, you can't just create more out of thin air. It doesn't exist. So when you have a currency that has a set amount of value and you realize that to buy this currency, you have to spend actual dollars or euros, pounds, whatever, you start to understand that, you know what, when you have a currency that can't really be altered, can't be printed, and actually has value, this is the solution, okay? And so Warren Buffett basically just explains as to why Bitcoin is better than actual currency, which is funny because Warren Buffett doesn't even like Bitcoin to begin with. Now, there have been a bunch of different rumors of Berkshire Hathaway because they have $334 billion in cash, which is insane. They're basically talking about how, and there's been a bunch of rumors. I don't know if they're true or not. What I will say is apparently they're looking to buy a little bit of Bitcoin and crypto. Now, if this does happen, not even the 334 billion, even if they were just invest like $30 million into Bitcoin, that would be insane. I mean, the amount of money that would move into Bitcoin because of this would be ridiculous. So this is very bullish. Again, I do hope that Warren Buffett or Berkshire Hathaway eventually start to go ahead and buy Bitcoin, because again, it would change the markets forever. Now, again, this will attract a lot of the traditional investors, especially the people that are gold over Bitcoin. Now, I want to ask you guys a question and let me know in the comments down below. Would you choose gold over Bitcoin? Now, guys, me personally, I mean, I do own a little bit of gold, but I do own way more Bitcoin. What I will say is, guys, gold being used as a currency just doesn't work for multiple reasons. First off, there's gold that is unaccounted for. There is, yes, a finite amount of gold, but every single couple of years we find like a new deposit of gold, and there's not a known amount of it, right? Also, to use it as currency, gold is actually pretty heavy. You can't just go ahead and pay for gold for like stuff, as in you're gonna actually have to transport it, as opposed to Bitcoin is literally just on the internet. So way easier to use and transact with. Regardless, speaking of Bitcoin and transacting, it might actually be hard to get Bitcoin. So Bitcoin supply on exchanges has fallen to a new low. So this chart basically highlights it. So the balance of Bitcoin used to be in the millions, and this is again on exchanges. It is now down to about 2.4 million. So there's not that many coins out there for people to even go ahead and buy, which we talked about a bit in yesterday's video. Guys, you guys want to buy Bitcoin, it's not going to be as easy as possible, because let's also remember Bitcoin, yes, has a supply of 21 million, but around 2.3 million to 3.7 million Bitcoin are permanently lost. So about 11% of the total supply is just lost. You're just never going to find it again. It's gone forever. So with all that being said, let's just assume there's about 19 million Bitcoin left out there. Again, you're not going to go ahead and get as much Bitcoin as you would like to unless you start sooner rather than later. Now, finally, some news from Brazil. $200 billion Itaú Unibanco now recommends a 3% Bitcoin allocation. Now, guys, when the banks are telling you, hey, like maybe you should buy some Bitcoin, maybe it's time for you to start buying some Bitcoin. Guys, now, guys, that is going to be it for today's video. Remember, guys, all you need is, start slow, right? Get $100 and $1,000 and 10,000, and eventually work your way up to one whole Bitcoin. And once you do, you're most likely going to be set for the rest of your life. But guys, that's going to be it for today's video. If you did enjoy, make sure you leave a like, subscribe down below, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.